Isn't it amazing how life is one thing and then, in an instant, it becomes something else?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 saddest scenes in teen movies.
Charlie, you gonna let me help you here? Okay.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most heartbreaking, poignant, and tear-jerking moments from movies revolving around teen and pre-teenhood, and all geared towards those in those age groups. Plot points will be discussed, so be aware of spoilers ahead. Which teen movie makes you the saddest? Sound off in the comments. Number 20, Romeo and Juliet's deaths. Romeo and Juliet. You know this story, and that it's not called a tragedy for nothing.
For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Romeo and Juliet meet at a party and fall madly in love, but it seems like the whole world, namely their feuding families, is against them. Though a plan is hatched that would enable them to run away together, things go horribly wrong. It all culminates in this heartbreaking scene where both pass away.
Poison. Don't call and left no friendly drop to help me after.
Sure, we all knew this moment was coming, but that doesn't make it any easier to digest. The worst part is that it's not really the feuding families or all the odds stacked against them that leads to their deaths. It's a handful of rash choices and some miscommunication.
I defy you, stars!
Number 19, Sebastian passes away. Cruel intentions. We might not care about what happens to Sebastian at the start of this flick. After all, he's a vile character who bets his stepsister Catherine that he can get the new girl Annette to be intimate with him.
She'll be my greatest victory.
You don't stand a chance. Even this is out of your league.
Care to make a wager on that?
However, Sebastian falls for Annette, and as he changes, we start rooting for him. So when he gets hit by a car and is killed while trying to save her, we're gutted.
I love you, Annette.
I love you too.
He's gone through so much personal growth by this point, and we get the sense that he wants to build a better future with Annette. Yet, in one swift instance, that chance is taken from him. The whole thing happens so fast and leaves us reeling.
Such a tragedy, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Number 18, Bethany gets vulnerable. Soul Surfer.
How are you? I'm good. Yeah. Everyone's been doing really good.
Soul Surfer is about Bethany, one of the most prominent young surfers on the come-up, who gets her arm bitten off by a shark. Of course, the event changes her life. Ultimately, though, she thrives in the face of adversity. In this scene, however, we see what she's been keeping to herself. Behind the triumphant face she wears on the outside, there's a scared and angry girl.
I've been trying to get some perspective. I've been really trying.
She's navigating a major shift, and there are bound to be peaks and valleys as she learns to accept what's happened. Bethany finally lets it all out to her church's youth ministry leader in a cathartic and tear-jerking moment that never fails to grip us.
Sarah, how can this be God's plan for me? I don't understand.
Number 17, Sutter Rejects Amy. The spectacular now. It's not just that he rejects her, it's the way he rejects her. All Amy ever did was love Sutter.
Don't love me.
Yes, I do.
You're wrong. You don't love me. Okay, you're just drunk and you're grateful that somebody came along and showed interest in you.
Sutter's nastiness comes from his realization that he might not be good for her, and his attempts to push her away only get worse. While driving under the influence, he nearly gets them into an accident while arguing with Amy.
Are you hurt?
Amy, what is the matter with you? I almost just killed you, and you want to know if I'm okay.
He's so upset about endangering her that he kicks her out of the car in the middle of the road. And yes, that's when she actually does get hurt, though not too seriously, thankfully. This scene is so brutal and shocking, and watching it never gets less painful.
Do you not see that I am bad for you? You need to get away from me.
Number 16, Nadines Apology. The Edge of 17.
Like I'm floating outside of my body, looking down at myself. And I hate what I see. How I'm acting, the way I sound.
The Edge of 17 places Nadine's experiences front and center, so it's really easy to empathize with her and see things from her perspective. However, that doesn't mean that she isn't flawed. and we delve deeper into her sometimes selfish and self-centered behaviors. But the thing is, none of it comes from a place of malice. She's just dealing with a lot, so it feels like the world is out to get her.
I think some deranged part of me likes thinking I'm the only one with real problems. Like, that makes me special.
In this scene, she confesses her deepest insecurities and fears to her brother, expressing how badly she's been hurting, while also recognizing that she's not the only one who hurts. It's such a profound, raw, and vulnerable moment that shows us Nadine at her most relatable.
And I don't know how to change it. And I'm so scared that that feeling is never gonna go away.
Number 15, Flashback to the Party, Speak. Based on the equally devastating book, Speak is about a young girl, Melinda, who finds herself struggling to vocalize the trauma she's experienced. When school starts, she's mistreated for having called the cops on the gathering, but no one knows what really happened. We can tell something bad has happened, and flashbacks to the party slowly reveal the truth of what transpired that night.
Wait, maybe I should tell my friends.
Tell your friends you're with me.
Indeed, Melinda didn't contact the authorities to break up the festivities. She did so to report that she had been sexually assaulted. But when the moment came, she just couldn't say it. The facts are devastating enough, but to see Melinda actually go through it all is absolutely heartbreaking.
It happened. There's no avoiding it. No forgetting.
Number 14, The Accident, If I Stay. Whatever small mercy it may be, this scene is at least not quite as graphic on screen as it is in the book.
Like here I am, Mia, the girl who thinks about the cello and Adam and whether a letter is waiting for me at home. And just like that,
Mia and her family get into a terrible car accident, and she watches the aftermath unfold in an out-of-body experience. She doesn't even realise at first that she was injured too. When you see the extent of the wreckage, you just know it's bad.
Mom! Daddy! Dad!
The fear, uncertainty, and frenzied panic on her face is just too much to bear, and it only gets worse once she discovers her own body on the ground. This sets up much of the emotional tension of the film as she heads to the hospital and lets us know we're in for a difficult journey.
If she wants to live, she better start fighting.
Start fighting? How am I supposed to start fighting? Someone just talk to me, please, just help me!
Number 13, The Pond, 5 feet apart. To be honest, this whole thing is quite tear-inducing. These kinds of 2010s romantic teen movies were practically in a competition to see which one could make us cry the hardest. But this scene in particular really wrecks us every single time.
Stella!
Polar opposites, Will and Stella, fall in love while living in the hospital with cystic fibrosis. Though they aren't supposed to be closer than 6 feet apart, they go on an adventure together.
Stella, they have new lungs for you. Hey, they have new lungs for you. Let's go to the hospital. Come on.
I haven't seen the lights yet.
While laying on a frozen pond, Stella falls through the ice. Watching as Will tries to save her is absolutely heart-stopping.
Help!
Number 12, Johnny's death, The Outsiders. This one is tough.
It's useless.
Huh?
Fighting ain't no good.
He and his friends ran into a burning building to save a bunch of children, and this is what he gets for it. Thanks to Ralph Macchio's performance, it's like you can feel Johnny's pain as he lays in the hospital dying from his injuries. Speaking of great performances, C. Thomas Howell and Matt Dillon also deliver the goods in this movie. You can see just how guilty Ponyboy and Dallas feel as they survived the harrowing incident.
Punk. Come on, Johnny, don't die. Come on. Come on, Johnny, don't die on me now.
Johnny was a good guy, arguably one of the best out of the whole Greaser gang. He definitely deserved better.
Man, I don't want to die now. It ain't long enough. 16 years ain't gonna be long enough.
Number 11, Leslie's passing, bridge to Terabithia. When Jess and Leslie become friends, they use their creativity and imagination to create a beautiful world all their own.
What if there was a magical kingdom that only we knew about?
I don't know. What if?
Okay, well, what if the only way we could enter it is by swinging on this enchanted rope?
They have adventures and fight their enemies, and it's obvious that their bond runs deep. But the one time she goes to Terabithia alone, while he's on a trip with his teacher, tragedy strikes.
Apparently she tried to swing across on a rope and it broke. They think she hit her head.
Thankfully, we don't have to watch what happens to Leslie, but it may be worse hearing the news along with Jess. He comes home to hear that she drowned while he was away, and you can just see as the guilt and grief washes over him.
I wasn't there to go with her. It's my fault.
Number 10, she just didn't love us back. Pretty in Pink.
I've already been through this, Andy.
Sure, you go through it every day. You're still going through it. Why can't you just realize that she's gone and she's not going to come back?
This classic John Hughes comedy follows Andy as she struggles with her frustrations about her working class upbringing. Much of this tension manifests in her relationship with her father, which comes to a head in this explosive scene.
Because I love her, that's why.
Well, I loved her too, you know. She just didn't love us back.
Molly Ringwald exemplifies why she was the queen of teen films in the 80s, as Andy's anger is released full force. This scene turns from anger to sadness, however, as she forces her father to reconcile with the fact that her mother is simply gone. There is a compassionate honesty to the scene that makes it both compelling and poignant.
I've just been a blind fool.
And you're a blind fool that needs a shave, too.
Number 9, Arnie tries to wake his mum. What's eating Gilbert Grape?
Hey! Mama!
Leonardo DiCaprio received his first Oscar nomination for his portrayal of Arnie Grape, and scenes like this show the pathos he injected into the performance.
You're hiding, huh? I know that.
When he tries to waken his sickly mother, she remains unconscious, and it becomes clear to the audience that she's dead. However, Arnie, who lives with a disability, takes a bit longer to figure it out.
Mama, stop it now! Stop, Mama!
There are no special filmmaking tricks here. All of the emotion arises from the compassionate performance of a child coming to terms with a parent's mortality. It's understated and simple storytelling like this that makes the film one we remember decades later. Number 8, Kayla signs off. 8th grade.
Hey guys, it's Kayla back with another video. So I'm making this video to just kind of say that I'm not going to be making videos anymore.
Few films embrace the realism of how hard it is to be a young teenager, like Bo Burnham's debut feature. Kayla is a graduating 8th grader who has a habit of posting admittedly awkward advice videos on the internet.
Hey guys, Kayla back here with another video. Okay, so the topic of today's video is putting yourself out there. Okay, so like, what does that mean? Where is there? Well, there can be anywhere that you wouldn't usually go.
However, after an unfortunate encounter with an older boy, she falls into a deep depression. She records a new video, but instead of the bright, enthusiastic Kayla, we get a despondent girl who opens up about her experience with anxiety.
I started making videos, to like give tips and stuff and, help you guys out, but I don't know. If I'm being really honest, I'm probably not, the best person to give advice.
The natural dialogue and Elsie Fisher's subtle performance will break your heart and put you right inside the character's head. Fortunately, things do get better, and ultimately turn out pretty well.
So I think if you guys are going through, tough times and stuff, you deserve someone who can go through tough times and make themselves feel better with their advice, and actually do the stuff they talk about.
Number 7, the airport. Ladybird.
Thank you for driving.
You're welcome.
You're not coming.
You can't walk up to the gates anymore anyway.
The complicated dynamic between Ladybird and her mother Marion comes to a head when Marion discovers that her daughter is going to New York for college. A resentful Marion decides not to walk her to her gate at the airport, but instantly regrets it. Her pain is palpable, thanks to Laurie Metcalf's superb performance, and you can't help but feel for both mother and daughter.
It's okay. She'll be back. She'll come back.
It exemplifies the walls that these two characters have put up, but also the tenderness for each other that hides behind those walls. Thankfully though, it also sets up one of the most beautiful film endings in recent memory.
Mom, did you feel emotional the first time that you drove in Sacramento? I did, and I wanted to tell you, but we weren't really talking when it happened. All those Bens I've known my whole life, and stores, and the whole thing.
Number 6, Khalil gets pulled over. The Hate U Give.
You don't really look too pissed off, so I couldn't tell if you was pissed off.
I'm really mad at you.
One of the decade's most underrated coming-of-age films, The Hate U Give, deals with more intense subject matter than most. At the end of the first act, the protagonist, Star, is driving with her lifelong friend Khalil, and the two are pulled over.
Drop the phone!
The scene becomes tense as Star tries to convince him to take the cops seriously, and ends in tragedy with Khalil's death.
Yo, but come on, why you messing up my car?
Just listen to him, Khalil.
Hey, alright, chill.
Star is forced to watch, horrified, as he dies slowly on the road. The pacing, directing, and acting in this scene is exquisite, and it's not easy to watch. But it proves that this is a film that has something to say.
I'm right here. You're okay, alright? There's an ambulance coming. Can you hear it? It's coming. It's gonna take care of you. You're gonna be fine, alright? You're gonna be okay. Don't be scared. Come on, it's okay.
Number 5, Landon gets into medical school. A Walk to Remember.
Like you were sent to me because I'm sick. To help me through all this. You're my angel.
What would this list be without one Nicholas Sparks adaptation? After a short, wistful relationship, Jamie and Landon get married for a brief period before Jamie passes away from leukemia. In the film's epilogue several years later, Landon meets with Jamie's father and reveals that he's been accepted into medical school.
I got into medical school.
Your mother told me that. We're so proud of you. Jamie would have been proud of you too.
It's a touching moment as the two reflect on the love he shared with Jamie, and it illustrates how far he's come from the delinquent he once was. The scene may feel a little dated all these years later, but there's no doubt that it can still bring a tear to your eye.
I'm sorry she never got her miracle.
She did. It was you.
Number 4, The Fireplace. Call Me By Your Name.
I remember everything.
After a passionate whirlwind romance, Elio is forced to say goodbye to Oliver, who has to return to the US. Several months later, Oliver calls the family with the news that he's getting married, which naturally crushes Elio. In a scene that's since become the movie's most iconic image, he stares into the fire and sobs. Timothée Chalamet brilliantly portrays the scene's quiet but powerful emotion, ending the film on a beautifully understated note. It's a scene that speaks to the central idea of the movie, of embracing feelings rather than turning away from them, as Elio is able to find beauty in his sadness. Number 3, OK, Hazel Grace, The Fault in Our Stars.
Like all real love stories, ours will die with us, as it should. You know, I'd kind of hoped that he'd be the one eulogizing me.
We all knew that a movie about two lovebirds with cancer wasn't really going to be particularly happy. Still, it packs a major emotional punch when Gus passes away. As the movie reaches its emotional conclusion, Hazel reads the eulogy Gus never got to give for her.
I don't want to ask you for any favors, but if you have the time, and from what I saw you have plenty, please fix this for me. It's a eulogy for Hazel.
Ansel Elgort's heartfelt voiceover works in tandem with Shailene Woodley's performance to make Hazel's grief and love searingly palpable.
We all want to be remembered. But Hazel's different. Hazel knows the truth. She didn't want a million admirers, she just wanted one. And she got it.
Rather than allowing the film to have a downer ending, the scene comes off as a love letter to the tragic coupling that's somehow uplifting even through the tears.
You don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world, but you do have a say in who hurts you. And I like my choices. I hope she likes hers. Okay, Hazel Grace?
Number 2, Charlie's Flashbacks, the perks of being a wallflower.
What's wrong, Charlie?
After a tumultuous freshman year of high school, Charlie must say goodbye to his best friends Patrick and Sam as they leave for college. His mental health reaches a low point as he's beset by bizarre memories of his late aunt. It becomes clear that he suffered abuse at her hands that he had since blocked out.
You said some things about her in your sleep.
I don't care.
If you want to get better, you have to.
This moment finally gives some insight into Charlie's complicated mind, and there's no way not to empathise with him. Still, the film does end on a note of hope to help us recover from all the hurt. Indeed, we feel confident Charlie is surrounded by people who love him, and has the necessary support to heal.
Just one moment when you know you're not a sad story. You are alive.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Why Brian is in Detention, The Breakfast Club.
You know why I'm here today? Do you?
John Hughes was among the first and most noteworthy filmmakers to take teenage problems seriously. The Breakfast Club is a great example of this, and it reaches its emotional climax when Brian reveals he's in detention because he had a weapon in his locker.
Mr. Ryan found a gun in the locker.
He planned on using it to take his own life because of academic pressure from his parents.
I can't have it.
In this moment, each of the characters stop being the stereotypes they initially saw each other as, and they become 5 friends who sincerely care about one another. It brings the movie's themes front and center with impeccable dialogue and earnest performances, making this a movie that sticks with us to this day.
Yes, it is.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.